Good afternoon and the warmest of welcomes indeed to today's iOB business webinar. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. My name is Ben and I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business, and I will be the one taking you through today's webinar session. So a couple of little things before we get kicked off for today's session. Okay, we always begin with an introduction with myself. Once again, my name is Ben. Then we're going to dive into the webinar for around about 15 to 20 minutes or so today. And then when we're finished with the webinar, we're going to open up for Q&A for a few minutes, as we always do. So please note that in between each of the three core topics, we will pause and we will give you a chance to ask away with any questions or indeed jot down any notes that you might wish to take as well. Okay, you can ask questions. You're more than welcome to anytime throughout the webinar, but I won't get to them until the end. So don't worry, ask away at any time. We just take the pauses so that you have a moment to catch up, or if there's any content you wanted to catch up on as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's get kicked off with today's session. I went ahead and switched off my video camera there. I'm going to bring the presentation up on screen now. So you should no longer be able to see my face, but you should still be able to hear my voice, and you should be able to see the presentation that we have up on screen there for you today as well. Okay, so if I can just have a very, very small favor from you, please, before we get kicked off. If you could just let me know in the chat box, you can hear my voice okay, and you can see the presentation up on screen okay. Once I have that information, I will then know that we are ready to rock and ready to get kicked off with today's topic of conversation: how to establish total dominance in your market. Okay. Number one, thumbs up. Yes, anything works. Just let me know we're ready to rock. Cool, perfect. Okay, we've had some confirmation. I'm ready to go then. So if you do have any technical difficulties, not that we ever usually experience any, but if you do have any, just let me know in the chat box and we'll do our best to sort you out and get you back on track as you can stay in with the webinar. Okay, so how to establish total dominance in your market. Today, your presenter is me. My name is Ben, and I'm a business coach. I specialize in working with small businesses, just like many of you on here today, to help them achieve stability and growth. It's a big, big part of what I love to do every single day, and it's an absolute pleasure to be on here speaking with you today. Now, today's session, 3 core points of conversation, beginning with they have to know who you are. They is going to be defined by whoever your target audience is, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Number 2, you don't compete in the wrong way. Okay, we're talking about how to establish total market dominance where you can, within reason, as a digital agency, a digital service provider. And number 3, exercise your strengths. Okay, it's a big, big part of being a strong digital agency and something that we want to carry on throughout our careers as digital agency owners or aspiring digital agency owners. Okay, so beginning with number 1, they have to know who you are. Okay, now they, meaning your community, your market, your prospects. All right, the absolute fundamental fact that I can share with you right at the beginning of today's webinar is that if they don't know who you are, and they being defined as your community, okay, the people around you, the people in your local area, the people in your industry, the people in your niche, they need to know who you are. Your market needs to know who you are, okay? People that you would think about doing business with, businesses that you would think about doing business with, okay? People who you feel would really benefit from the services, the products, whatever it is that you offer. Your market needs to know who you are, okay? And your prospects, the people that would think about doing business with you, okay? The people that would pay your business money, the people that would sign up for one of your service packages, buy one of your products, buy one of your service offerings. These people have to know who you are, okay? Now, state the obvious, Ben, of course, okay? But something I'm going to share with you is that brand awareness is something that can be massively overlooked when it comes to marketing, okay? Many of us become obsessed with how many clicks, how many results, how much direct money we're getting back. But sometimes what we forget to think about is that the more people that know about us, the more people there are potentially to do business with us, okay? So direct marketing, something where we're directly approaching a prospect, somebody who's going to directly transact money with us. Fantastic, very, very strong method. But we also have to think about the fact, does our community know who we are? Does our market know who we are? Do our prospects know who we are? Not only know who we are and what we do and why we're here, do they actually know that we exist? Okay. Now, statistically speaking, if I could let 10% of the global population know that you exist, how much business do you think that you would have? Okay. Now, 10% is an obscenely massive number when we're talking about global population. But in your local area, would it be fair to assume that at least 10 to 20% of them should know who you are? Even 30% of local businesses, 40, 50, should know that you exist, who you are. And how do you do this? How do you make sure that people know who you are? Well, we're going to continue to discuss that through topic number 1 today. But the first thing that we need to clarify is that if they do not know that you exist, they cannot do business with you. Okay, so the more they see your name, the more they see your business, the more they see your business logo, the more they see stuff about what your business does, they're going to begin to learn about who you are and the fact that you exist. Okay, in some way, shape, or form, businesses need marketing. Okay, now if you can get yourselves in front of people to let them know, I'm here, I can run digital marketing for you, this is something that I can work on. Okay, it's very, very important that they know who you are and that they know that you exist. You cannot dominate a market that does not know who you are. Okay, now I know that many of us, we choose not to be so, sometimes online, sometimes we don't want to post videos of ourselves, sometimes we don't want to be talking too much about ourselves. Okay, but the reality of the fact is, as a small business owner, you absolutely have to let people know who you are. Now, I'm not saying that you have to get up on stage at the community fair and start telling everybody about who you are, but you can be sending out flyers, you can be running advertising, you can be having conversations with local people, you can be having marketing campaigns running in your local area, you could be putting things through people's doors, okay, to let people know, hey, I'm here and I exist. Can we have a conversation? Can we talk about something? It is relentlessly marketing to let people know who you are and the fact that you're there. We want the phone to ring and say, hi, Ben, are you able to help me with any of these digital marketing services? Hey, Ben, I seen your flyer. Hey, Ben, I saw your advert online. Hey, Ben, I saw the poster that you put down at a local cafe. Okay, you cannot dominate a market that does not know who you are. Okay, we're talking local magazines, newspapers, articles, online blogs, videos, social media, flyers through doors, all of these things. Okay, you cannot dominate a market that does not know who you are. So, big question for you: do you trust brands that you see all the time, or would you choose a brand you've never seen before? Okay, when you go to the supermarket, you're picking up a drink at the end of your shopping trip. Do you go with a big well-known brand such as Coca-Cola, something like that, or would you go with a brand that you've never heard of before? Okay, it's a simple question. Now, if you are somebody who likes to try out new brands, credit to you. But I would take an educated guess that most of us will go with a brand that we trust. Okay, you need to have in your head as a business owner, in order for people to trust you, they need to see you. They need to see your product, your service, your brand, your name all the time. Okay, the more we see it, the more we trust it. Now, we look at something like Coca-Cola. Okay, cool. I know that that's trusted. I know I can drink that. I know that it'll be okay. Obviously, it depends what you can do health-wise and things like that. But when we're looking at something like taking a drink, okay, here, we think, right, that's a brand that I trust. I know that I'm going to enjoy the taste of that because I've had it before. I see it all the time. People rave about it. They've got campaigns, all of these things that make you trust the brand. Okay. Now, in addition to that, we've got brand awareness campaigns running all the time. The Coca-Cola Christmas truck, for example. Okay, that comes around in Christmas in the UK. Okay, and it's something that we can see. It's brand awareness. Okay, they're going around, they're spreading this festive cheer, and they're giving out free Coca-Cola. Okay, it's all brand awareness. It's all marketing. Now, they might not necessarily be able to say, okay, because of the fact that we did that, we had an extra 500,000 sales this year. Okay, maybe they can, maybe they can't. I don't know. But what we're looking at is a brand awareness campaign. They're reminding you that they're there. They're reminding you that they exist. Okay, so do not be afraid to publicize your work and yourself. This is something that we really, really, really need to sort of hammer home with small businesses: is be proud of yourself, be proud of the work that you do, make sure that you are seen in the public eye. Okay. Now, we don't want to hide too much. And I know, and I understand to some extent, small businesses like to keep things private. They like to keep themselves private, and that's fine. If you have a direct client acquisition program and you're making more money than you know what to do with, and you're not having to publicize yourself anywhere in any way, congratulations, that's fantastic. But I would say, in my experience, for the most part, as small business owners, we need to make sure that we are putting ourselves out there, that people can see what we're doing and what we're up to. Okay, the more they see us, the more they trust us. So that brings us to the end of topic number 1. As promised, I'm going to give you a moment now to go ahead and jot down any questions that you might have. Thank you for the question. I'll get that at the end. And anything else that you want to jot down on this slide, and I'll rejoin you again in just a moment. Okay, fantastic. So let's move on now to topic number 2. You don't compete in the wrong way, okay? So what do you mean by this, Ben? Well, I'd be more than happy to tell you. So we're going to run through topic number 2. You don't compete in the wrong way, okay? Be aware of your rivals, but do not fall into the trap of repetitive competition. Okay, so we're speaking specifically about the digital marketing industry today, but the rivalry and competition between businesses in the same industry, in the same niche, can apply in many, many different ways. So we're talking about it as a generalized topic. Be aware of your rivals, but do not fall into the trap of repetitive competition. Now, by repetitive competition, what I mean is watching every single thing that your competitor does and doing the same thing. Okay, they've launched a new campaign, so I'm going to launch the same campaign, but I'm going to do it better. Or they've rolled out a new service offering, so I'm going to offer the same service offering, but I'm going to make it 10% cheaper. Okay. If you become so obsessed with what your rivals are doing, you end up replicating them. Okay. Now, whilst you want to overcome them, okay, business wise, you do not want to fall into the trap of essentially becoming them by way of replication. Okay. We need to make sure that we do not fall into this trap. It's good to know what they're up to, but we absolutely do not want to be copying every single move that they make, okay? But the first reason, you don't know how productive that move is going to be for them. Second reason, you don't know what their current or existing target base is, or the existing client base that they have, okay? You don't know for a fact why they're doing what they're doing. So if it doesn't work for you, don't do it. More importantly, if it's not original or something you would think you would actually want to do, again, please don't do it. Don't do it just because somebody else is doing it. So we should always be aware of them, know who they are, know what they're up to, but please don't fall into the trap of repetitive competition and copying what they do. You should focus on you, your clients, and your business. Okay, think about what actually makes sense for me. What makes sense for my business? Who are my clients? Who is my target audience? Okay, what would I be able to offer them that would be productive, helpful, and really make an improvement to their business, and therefore, hopefully, my business in turn. The more we help our clients succeed, the more we succeed as digital agency owners. Okay, so you should focus on you, your clients, and your business, making sure that you don't fall into this trap of repetitive competition, making sure that you're not copying every single move that your competitor makes. Okay, it's very, very unlikely that this will be a productive exercise for you for the sole reason that it's not an original idea. You're already working yourself into a saturated market, because if they've rolled out a new service offering, you see that it could take you a month to 6 weeks to implement the same thing. By that point, they've gained a monopoly on their specific market and what they want to do. Okay. Now, this depends, of course, on market cap, market size, where they're operating, how they're operating. But for the most part, try and be as original as you can with your own incentives. Now, it doesn't matter if something that you think of is similar to that the competitor is doing, service offering wise. Okay. As long as it's unique and as long as it's not blatantly copying anything that anybody else is doing. Okay. So you should focus on you, your clients, and indeed your business. Now, what we've got to think about here as well, okay, you don't compete in the wrong way. This is what we're talking about so far today, okay? So allow your clients to explore their options. If you're the first in your class, they will come back, okay? Something that I don't want us to fall into the trap of doing is saying, hey, this competitor or that competitor, you shouldn't go with them, you should go with me, okay? It's a very, very negative way to look at how the market operates, okay? If your clients or prospective clients want to explore what other options they have, you should be confident in the fact that you deliver a fantastic service offering for a good value, okay? Now, if you are confident that you do this, you should be more than happy to allow your client or prospect, if they're speaking about, if they mention another competitor, or we don't want to be actively trying to keep them away, okay? We don't want to do anything negative or anything bad to our competition. We want to make ourselves the absolute best agency, the best business that we can be, okay? Because for this reason, if you are first in your class, they will come back, okay? It's very, very likely that even if somebody does look at a competitor, or they look at going with one of your rivals for one reason or another, maybe they're cheaper, or maybe they offer a bit more for the money, or whatever it is, they'll go and look. And if they don't like the experience because they're looking at it and they're comparing it to yours, then there's a very, very high chance that they will come back. Okay, try only to be the first in your class. Don't worry too much about trying to fend off competitors when it comes to your clients. Make sure that you are being the best that you can be. Now, a class leader isn't looking at what everybody else is doing. They're focusing on what they are doing. They're trying to be the very, very best they can be. You wake up each morning and you think, how can I deliver the absolute most for my clients today? How can I get the absolute most for my working day? And what can I do to improve my business today? Okay, if this is your thought process, then you can always confidently say at the end of the day, we've done everything we possibly could to take care of our business, take care of our clients, and take care of ourselves. Okay, so winners do not try and copy others, they lead the race. If you take nothing else away from this webinar today, please take this away. Winners do not try to copy others, they lead the race. Okay, they figure out how to become faster, they figure out how to become more efficient, they figure out how to become more productive, therefore more successful in their own right, in their own field. Okay, they don't spend too much time thinking about what other people are doing. Okay, we don't want to be running a race and looking at how fast the other people are, or how they're training, or how they're preparing. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can in our category. We want to be a thought leader. We want to be the class leader. Okay, so that brings us to the end of topic number 2. I'm going to give you another brief moment to go ahead, jot down any questions, and indeed down any notes as well that you might have for us. Any questions that I have in currently, I will grab them for you at the end of the session there today. Okay. Fantastic. So let's move ourselves on to the third and final topic of today's conversation: exercise your strengths. Okay. We're talking about you. We're talking about how you can be the best possible digital agency that you could possibly be for yourself, for your business, for your clients. Okay. You cut no corners. Now, a strength of yours when you're running a digital agency should be the fact that you evaluate everything. You don't cut any corners to save costs where necessary, to make your client process more simplistic, or whatever it is, or save yourself a bit of time where you shouldn't really be trying to save time. You should be trying to deliver the best possible service for your client. You don't cut any corners. You deliver on what you said you were going to deliver on. You don't just not send a report that week because it's easier and because it's quicker. If you committed to doing that, you will do that, and you will deliver it to the best of your ability to your client. This is what I personally truly believe, in my experience as well, what you should do in order to run a successful business. You don't cut any corners. You make sure everything is thorough. When you're evaluating a campaign, you do a full analysis. You don't just do a quick overview. Things like this, okay? You cut no corners when it comes to this. Now, one thing that you can confidently say to any prospect that looks at joining your business: we cut no corners. We make sure that we take the absolute maximum care of you that we possibly can in the field that you've chosen to work with us in. So if you're trying to run paid advertising with us, we'll do our absolute best to evaluate the market, see where you fit best into the market, see how get the absolute best possible price for client acquisition, or whatever it is that you're looking to do. Okay, we'll do thorough research and make sure that your market is correct for the service that you're offering. You don't cut any corners. And the ability to confidently and truly say this when you're taking prospects on through sales calls and you're looking to convert them into a client, if you can truly say this, it would very much bode well for the confidence and the belief that the client has in you, or the prospective client at this point in time. Okay, so you're transparent about everything that you do, especially if you operate locally. Something that you have to make sure you're doing is truly having this transparency policy in place. Okay, now not a physical policy as such, just a sort of metaphorical policy, as it were, that you abide by. We're always happy to show clients what we're up to. We're always happy to show clients what we're doing. We explain properly what their fees are going towards. We don't have any hidden costs or anything to trip anybody up. Okay, we don't send extra invoices out randomly if we haven't agreed to it beforehand. You're transparent about everything that you do, especially if you operate locally. Now, the reason I emphasize the local element here, and this isn't just digital agencies that we're talking about in this context, it's digital marketing agencies plus other businesses, okay? If you operate locally, you want to operate transparently, okay? If you're doing anything that isn't completely above board, it could very, very negatively impact your local presence. And if one business feels like they haven't had the best from you, or they feel like you maybe cut some corners with them, or that you charge them unfairly, or any of these negative things that can be done, if this begins to happen, word will spread throughout the local community, and you might find yourself losing just more than one client. Okay, it's very, very much something that we need to be thinking about and we need to be aware of. So exercise your strengths and have this down as one of your strengths. You're transparent about everything that you do, especially if you operate locally. Okay, now next, you understand your niche and your skill sets, and you use these to perform for clients. Understand where you fit in most, okay, and where you fit in best. Understand your niche. What is it you're fantastic at? What do you offer as a digital agency or as a business to your prospective clients? okay, and your current clients. What's your skill set? You use these to perform for your clients, okay? You understand where you fit in, you understand what you do best, and you do that for your clients. You're not too focused on what anybody else is doing. You're simply being the best that you can be. You're refining and honing your own skill set to make sure that you can deliver the absolute maximum value for your clients, okay? And finally, it's very difficult for a client to leave you when you are delivering exemplary results, okay? If you are performing time and time and time again, you're smashing it out of the park, you're being the very, very best agency that you can possibly be, it's very, very difficult for a client to leave you, okay? It's difficult for them to leave, not for any other reason than the fact that you are performing at an outstanding rate, okay? Say that they are running paid advertising campaigns with you, and they're consistently getting 2 or 3 times back in way of sales by, as opposed to, sorry, from what they're investing with you, okay? So if they're investing £100 with you on paid advertising, they're consistently getting £300 back per month. This makes it very, very difficult for them to actually say, well, I want to leave, okay? Why would they want to leave if they're performing so well with our business? The service offering that we are giving to them is performing so well, okay? Now, maybe somebody else could say, we'll get you 5 times, ROI, or we'll get you 10 times ROI, okay? That's fine. If they want to go and try that and the other business truly can achieve that, then good for them, okay? But if you are truly delivering it the best you personally feel is absolutely possible, then the other agencies may not achieve that, and they might end up coming back around to you again for that very reason. Okay, so it's very, very difficult for a client to leave you when you're delivering exemplary results. So to recap on this session, first of all, you cannot dominate a market that does not know who you are. Brand awareness is so important. Be aware of your rivals, but never fall into repetitive habits. And finally, display your talent and be proud of your skills. Okay, it's very, very important that you focus on you and you focus on being the very best possible digital agency that you could truly be. So, as always, a massive thank you for taking the time to attend today's session. It's been an absolute pleasure presenting today's iOB business webinar to you. If you'd like to talk to a member of our team, you're more than welcome to head over to iob-business.com/talk-to-us. And on here, you can go ahead and book a call at a time that suits you. So when you click on that link, you'll see a calendar such as this one, and you can go ahead and book a call with us, okay? So I'm going to leave this link up on screen for you. I'm going to leave the calendar up on screen for you so that you can see that. And in the meantime, I'm going to go and grab the questions that I have from you lovely people to answer on today's webinar, okay? Perfect. So the first question I have, I don't like putting myself out there as I'm worried something could trip me up, okay? Perfect question. So risk of being tripped up, in my view, is preferable to only winning tiny amounts of business, if any business at all, okay? If you don't put yourself out there, there's a strong chance that you may not receive any business at all. And if you do, it could be a very small amount, okay? Because nobody really knows who we are. So as long as you're confident in what you're saying, that there's risk of being tripped up. Somebody could always challenge you. Somebody could always question something that you know, and that's okay. You should have the confidence to know that the things that you're saying are correct, okay? Or at least in your belief system, if you're saying something that's sort of non-factual, as it were, not misleading in any way, but if you're saying something that's very difficult to prove or not prove as a fact, then it's perspective, it's opinion. You say, personally, I believe that the best way of getting new clients is X, Y, Z. There's not necessarily any way to say this is absolutely categorically the right way, and somebody could challenge you on that. But you have your belief system in place and you have your experience in place. So stand by what you know, stand by what you believe in, and please try and remove a little bit of that fear, okay? And with practice comes confidence. So the more you do it, hopefully the more confident you'll begin to feel. But with this thought in mind, we can't not do something because we're somewhat afraid of the fact that somebody might challenge us on it, okay? Because you have so much to gain in that area that if you don't do it, you risk not gaining any of it. But a fantastic question. Thank you for asking. And I hope that helps. Next question. Shouldn't I watch my competitors to see what they're up to? Absolutely. Totally agree with you. So what you want to do is be aware. But I would ask you, if you want to be 1 step behind or 3 steps ahead, okay, I would recommend here in this scenario being the trailblazer, being the person that does something first, okay? Because if you're copying what other people are doing, now being aware is one thing, but copying what they're doing is another. So if you're copying what somebody else is doing, the chances are you're always going to be 1 step behind, okay? Because they've done it first, now you're doing it. You want to be the first one to make these moves. You want to be the one blazing a new trail, figuring out things for yourself, okay? Figuring out what's best and what's going to work well for your clients. So again, hopefully that clears that up. Amazing question. Thank you for asking. Do we have any more questions on today's session? No. Okay, cool. So as always, then, been an absolute pleasure speaking with you on this iOB business webinar, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend ahead. Take care and bye for now.